Welcome back to That Was the Women's Week That Was, the WRN review of the 26th of August 2023. Last week's Sport Focus was sent before the Women's World Cup final, so we'll do a brief review before going on to this week's main theme, back to school. As September approaches, our children and grandchildren will be returning to school. WRN's Back to School campaign focused on the rights of women and girls in education, from nurseries through to higher education. In this edition, you'll hear about one mother's challenge to her daughter's school, WRN's support for the review of PSHE information in schools, Bristol University Students' Union's out-of-court settlement for denying women the right to meet without men, Ed Davies' claim that periods are not just a women's issue, and an old favourite, Stonewall staff claiming leaflets exposing their flaws cause harm. Right at the end, we thank Justin Webb for using clear language when discussing fairness for females. FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. In our hashtag Summer of Sport, the Lionesses made it to their first World Cup final. WRN are incredibly proud of each and every one of them. Huge congratulations to Spain, who played an incredible game of football to win the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. The tournament showed the world that women's sport matters in its own right. Unfortunately, during the celebrations, the Spanish Football Federation president, Luis Rubiales, thought it was entirely appropriate to kiss Jenni Hermoso on the lips. It's taken until today, time of recording, Sunday 27th, for the Spain's men's national team coach, De La Fuente, to make a statement that Rubiales' behaviour was wrong and out of place. The Lionesses' statement was superb. Unacceptable actions allowed to happen by a sexist and patriarchal organisation. Abuse is abuse, and we have all seen the truth. The behaviour of those who think they are invincible must not be tolerated, and people shouldn't need convincing to take action against any form of harassment. We all stand with you, Jenni Hermoso, and all players of the Spanish team, the Lionesses. The final itself between England and Spain was watched by a peak television audience of 14.4 million people in the UK and 5.6 million people in Spain. You can check out a video on our X timeline showing why single-sex events are important long before the elite level. And it was made for every woman and every girl who goes out there and kicks a ball. Yesterday, today, and in the future. WRN Back to School campaign. Single-sex school toilets are a necessity, not a provision to be designed out. They're especially valued by girls, but children of both sexes deserve privacy, dignity and safety in school toilets. Girls use toilets for a variety of reasons and find avoiding contact with the seat much more difficult than boys. They also use the spaces to avoid attention from boys, regroup and deal with their early years of menstruation. All things that girls have to deal with in school, which many adult men do not seem to understand. You can read one mother's account of challenging her daughter's school over its toilet policy in the Women's Words section on the WRN website. Informing parents of RSHE in schools. We welcome the review of RSHE in the school curriculum and the sharing of content with parents. Ideological indoctrination is not in children's best interests and is actively harmful. Telling children their bodies may need to be changed because of their thoughts and feelings creates the idea that sex stereotypes are set and people can only avoid them by opting out of having a sexed body or choosing to swap roles with a change of name, hairstyle, drugs and surgeries. This must stop, and Gillian Keegan must act decisively. Feminist student societies can be female only. In an important case for academia, it was established that feminist student societies can be female only. Raquel Rosario Sanchez threatened legal action against Bristol University Students' Union, who previously disciplined Women Talk Back, WTB, its own feminist group for excluding trans-identifying men from talks on rape and sexual assault. BUSU backed down in an out-of-court settlement. Other student groups and universities are going to face challenges for making similar attempts to silence feminist and LGB groups. Would you pay Stonewall to train your business? Stonewall Comedy Workplace Conference was held at Cardiff City Football Club on the 18th of August. Groups including Wales Women's Rights Network, Outspoken Women, LGB Alliance Cymru and Gay Men's Network handed out leaflets containing information about the flaws in Stonewall's claims and the no debate approach. Stonewall Comedy staff objected to the leaflets, claiming they caused them harm and upset. The harm and upset caused to women and gay men by Stonewall's claims and the resulting stress of lawsuits seems to be ignored. Trying to silence dissenters speaking about the facts of sex and sexuality is not inclusive. Well done WRN Wales and all the others for making such clear leaflets and using them so effectively to promote reality in the face of the lie of inclusion. 6 security staff were sent outside and attempted to remove the small law-abiding group of women's rights and gay rights campaigners. Let's hear some of that now.
No, I just ask you that you have to get off the footprint for us, please. Okay. By all means, you can go to the gates there. That's nothing to do with me outside the stadium, but on the stadium footprint. I just ask you kindly to.
Is there any particular reason?
Yeah, it's just that the event are not happy with what you're posting out, so they've asked us to.
Sorry, I mean, don't mind me asking, but what are they not happy with?
I haven't had an in-depth discussion with them. I've just arrived on site this morning. I've just been told that they're not happy with you guys outside.
Would you mind asking them, or is there no debate?
I'm not saying I won't ask them. I'll be speaking with them at some point in time. I'm part of the operations team, but I'm just asking you. Obviously, you're not part of the event today.
Of course, we're not attending the event. We'd just be really grateful to know, what specifically they're objecting to. Have they seen the leaflet?
No, I'll take one if I
can. Thank you. I think there might be another leaflet as well. Guys, can I have a leaflet?
Thank you.
Right, we're with the Gay Men's Network.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this gentleman, he's basically said the organisers would like us to leave the footprint. So I've asked Christian.
Leave the footprint means
of the
leave,
building,
leave a footprint?
No.
I'm Dutch.
So I've asked Christian just to find out what it is that they object to. So I've asked him to show them the leaflet, see what specifically what they object to, or whether there's no debate.
Yeah.
So I can have that conversation.
Is that okay?
By all means, so there's a gate there and there's the main entrance there.
Of course.
And I've asked you that you can.
But would you mind finding that out?
I would listen. You guys, I've spoken with their organiser, right? And you obviously got their Leave Stonewall, which is the event. I'm not deep into any what you represent or what they do.
We're saying organisation.
The organisation, yes. You're against what they stand for. I've spoken with my governor. We don't. We support peaceful protests, so we haven't got a problem with that. What we're asking is we want to go about our daily business of their event, which they've booked. Yeah. But you're giving these flyers out. The event owner would like to stop giving these out to their people because it's causing harm and upset to the people going in.
Oh, the people who have been lovely.
So I say I'm not one way or t'other. I'm asking you guys. I mean, they're obviously being the ones here. Just don't want to leave reception now. Whether they call the police and they want to get you forcefully removed, we're not going to bring the police.
The police are not going to forcibly remove people peacefully handing out leaflets. They would negotiate with us to leave because the optics of them manhandling lesbians off the footprint of the building for peacefully handing out leaflets would be appalling.
Not forcibly removed,
and the
but
police,
ask you to leave.
I'm using your words because, the police obviously would 100%.
The other thing is obviously
recognise that
not everyone attending the stadium is attending that event. So like one of them was a member of our staff and she's come in.
She's been approached.
So
what does that upset her?
Well, she didn't feel comfortable with it.
What did she think was going to happen?
I don't know. We haven't had an in-depth conversation with her, but not everyone going in there today. But we have multiple events.
So are you saying that the organisers have spoken to people attending and they've told them that they feel alarmed and scared?
I think it's the organisers that are making it. All they're doing is requesting us as clients of the club who've invested in use of the stadium today. So obviously we've got to try and they're paying to use our facilities.
We don't want to make your job
exactly. They're paying to use our facilities. We've got to try and accommodate them to the best of our ability.
So the organisers are alarmed by us being outside handing.
They're not happy. Yes.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything specific they weren't happy about?
All of it, and she wasn't pinpointing any particular thing.
A Stonewall company representative later came out with a handful of leaflets taken from delegates, ceremoniously tore them up and put them in the bin. WRN Wales questions why any workplace would want to be involved with such an authoritarian group that's put organisations at risk. Menstruation is not just a women's issue. When the political party conferences return this autumn, WRN will be keeping a close eye on policy debates that affect the lives of women and girls. An agenda pushed by the Liberal Democrats for their annual gathering in Bournemouth includes a motion on period poverty, which also includes the impact of menstruation on trans and non-binary individuals. Leader of the Lib Dems, Ed Davey, recently claimed that menstruation is not just a women's issue. WRN asks, how on earth do you plan to address period stigma when you fail on the very basics? Language matters. Thank you to BBC journalist Justin Webb, who used clear and accurate language to describe sex categories on the Today programme on BBC Radio 4. We need more journalists to show the same integrity. Here he is talking to Dominic Lawson about chess.
Look, you haven't come on to talk about sex, Dominic, but sex matters in so many areas of life, doesn't it? And it seems it matters in chess. At least the World Chess Federation, if that's what they're called, have banned trans women, in other words, males, from contesting against in the female categories in chess. Do you understand why that is? Is there a male advantage in chess that is widely understood in the game?
It's a very vexed problem. I mean, I think all I can do is point you to maybe, because it's difficult for a man to talk about this, and certainly a man who's not a scientist or an evolutionary biologist or whatever, but there isn't any woman in the world's top 100. The nearest is Hu Yifan, who is far and away the top woman player. And I did interview her for this same program Across the Board for the BBC. And I asked her specifically about this, and it's still on the BBC iPlayer. And probably the best thing is for your listeners to get hold of that and to listen to what the strongest woman says.
Wonderfully diplomatic answer. And well, lo and behold, we've no more time as well, Don.
There are lots of ways to support the Women's Rights Network. You can donate directly via the website. You can buy the merchandise via violetvenn.com. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, this podcast, and follow us on social media and sign up to our mailing list. And if you're a woman who'd like to join us, head over to womensrights.network. You'll be very welcome. Until next week, don't forget, courage calls to courage everywhere.